Hi folks, it's Paul the Boss Man again on our last segment of leadership. This time we're talking about people and training. And before we get into that, I just want to remind you to visit my website, www.theboss.rocks, helping restaurant owners, managers grow sales, profits professionally and personally. So let's get into it. Leadership, people, and training. The first thing we're going to talk about is hiring. It's kind of where it starts, right? It's one of the most important things you do. Don't take it lightly. Don't hurry through it. Don't just hire whoever or whatever because you need a hot body. That doesn't very often work. Sometimes you'll get lucky and get a really good person. They'll fight their way through it. But if you're not prepared to hire new people and train them and give them good orientation and so on and so forth, it usually isn't going to work. So you may as well just sacrifice the time now to start setting up some of these things and making them right. Okay? Why is it so important? People don't often change. Their mother and father or whoever it's installed their values and beliefs and whatnot in them, and remember what we're looking for is people with character. So that's pretty much set in stone already for the most part. Can people change? Yes, but not often. Under proper motivation for the right reasons, they can change. Someone goes to prison or they're about, they get in some legal trouble or something. Sometimes that'll trigger a change. Somebody has a heart attack, that'll lead them to make changes in their lifestyle. But it usually takes drastic things to get people to change. So keep that. Excuse me, I'm yawning again. I'm doing it. I was doing it yesterday too. Excuse me. People are a reflection of their character. Okay, you need to get a good mirror so you can find out what the reflection is. That's the idea of hiring. The whole hiring process is to find people with good character. We've talked about this a lot in the past. Hire the best and pay a little bit more. I have a real simple theory, and anyone who's been any restaurant manager who's been in business any time will agree with this. Say you're paying your average employee $10 an hour. Okay, you pay your great employee $11 an hour. Okay, which is I'm in the ballpark here. Okay, now your $11 an hour employee can do at least 25% more work than your $10 an hour employee. Simple math tells you real fast that they're really worth $12.50 an hour. Okay, so at 11 they're a bargain. So it's better to pay them to pay the best. Now remember, what is the best? The best isn't necessarily the person with the most experience. The best is going to be somebody with character. And also the thing is, usually when you pay for people, you're paying for experience. So you're not necessarily hiring the most experienced person. The most experienced person might have the best character, yeah, and then you're going to pay because if they got experience and character, excuse me, if they've got experience and character, what more could you want? And you've got perfect employee almost. So, but largely, a lot of times, you're going to hire the person that isn't necessarily the most experienced, so you don't have to overpay them because they have the best character, because they don't have any experience. So you're not going to have to pay top dollar. Okay. So keep that in mind also, because there's no use in throwing away money. Remember, that's your number one goal is to make money. Making money fixes everything. If you got food cost problems, you got labor cost problems, whatever problem you have, if you made profit last month, you can use that profit this month to help fix those problems. Number one job is to make money. Okay. Of course, we want to do that with character and integrity and everything, but no bones about it. You're there to make money. period. Okay. A great employee earns that pay. Okay. I just gave you the proof, used numbers to prove that. Okay. Application, make it a little bit lengthy and ask 3 questions, 3 character questions. Okay. And then it saves time to have people are, if you just have the basic stuff on there, and you don't have the questions, excuse me, you're going to use the basic information to determine whether or not, they're a candidate, even a possibility. Okay. If they can't work night shift, you need night shift person, you got to set their file over to the day shift file. Okay. You got to skip them. Although they may be a great candidate, it doesn't do you any good. Okay. Unless you can hire them from day shift and move one of your day shift people to night shift. Okay. Which, always keep your mind open for possibilities like that. But usually day shift people aren't going to want to switch to night shift. Usually. Okay. This, by having a lengthy application, making them do a little extra work. Number one, it shows them you're going to find out if they really want the job. 2 is you're going to get extra information that's going to help you determine whether or not to interview them. In a lot of cases, it's going to be not, which is going to save time because there's no point in interviewing people that you don't need to talk to. Okay. So it saves time. And we all know managers' time is valuable. The interview. Experience isn't that important. Skills, again, aren't that important. Be looking for desire, character, and attitude. And you got to ask questions to do that. And we'll delve into that more later. Okay. Remember, you can teach restaurant skills. They're not, most skills in a restaurant aren't skills. We talked about this in the last video. Is restaurant employees are largely unskilled labor, and you can teach them how to do these things. You don't need a college degree to know how to do them. You don't need a special license or anything else. Okay, so remember that experience and skills aren't that important. You're looking for desire, character, and attitude. If you hire people with those three things, you're gonna have a great restaurant. I promise you. New hire paperwork. First of all, get all your legal documents. What for? And difference from state to state, sometimes even from county to county. So get whatever your legal documents are, your I-9s, your W-2s, all that in your new hire paperwork. If they don't have it, can't fill it out, they can't start. Period. Because otherwise you're breaking the law, and there's no excuse for it. I don't care how hard up you are, how bad you need a hot body. They do not have the legal documents, they cannot start. Period. Okay, no exceptions. Okay, and then a thorough orientation checklist. And this is really, really important because you're going to set the groundwork for expectations here, and you're going to give them an idea of what, just how demanding your job is going to be, and how important certain things are. Okay, so really have a thorough checklist. Go through their training, give them a tour of the restaurant, introduce them to people, let them know who's going to be training them, blah blah blah, and show them how to use the job helpers. Job helpers, little charts we're going to put on the walls to help teach them how to make each product, how to clean this station, so on and so forth, cleaning lists and stuff like this. All this is pertinent information that has to be covered in the orientation checklist. This list should take an hour, 1 hour. That's how thorough this should be, to go through each and everything to make sure you have that document, or you're talking about this particular subject with them. 1 hour, one-on-one. So that's how thorough we're talking about. Okay. Next, we're going to talk about is training. Okay, now that you've hired them, you've got to train them, right? Okay. Uh, First part is you got to have a training program. If you don't have a training program, stop right. There's nothing more important you can really do other than handle your current business than having a training program. So if you don't have a training program in your restaurant right now for each and every station, you need to spend every ounce of your spare time, between 2 and 4 o'clock or after dinner rush or whatever, writing a training program. Okay, it needs to cover several things. Uh, Number one, it's the manager's most valuable tool. If you've got trained employees, what more can you ask for? You've got all you got to do is motivate them. Okay, um, it should include quizzes and tests, reading materials, and charts at each station. These aren't just specification charts that tells you how much chicken to use or onions or whatever to use. These are charts that are going to tell them how to make each product, how to clean their station, cleaning checklists, time management guidelines. By this time you should have this done. By this time you should have this done. By this time you should have this done. So on and so forth. Okay, it's it's their job. Okay, their job in writing basically. Okay, that's how thorough you want to be with these things. Okay, and then you can put these on your walls with a little putty. I like to use putty because if you want to, take them down, they come down real easily. Take the putty off, clean the wall, put them back up, no problem. Okay, these charts should be laminated. Okay, if you use paper ones, they're going to get dirty, they're going to get splashed, they're going to get wet, they're going to get wrinkled, they're going to look like shit. Spend the money, get them laminated, they'll last forever. Okay, then you can also clean them with a wet towel or a sponge or a scratch pad or whatever you need to do to get it clean. Okay, again, I would use putty, but you can use double-sided tape. Now, the double-sided tape is not that thin stuff. You got to use the padded like insulation type stuff. Okay, foam. There you go, foam. Or you can use Velcro. Um, Velcro works pretty good. I've liked that. I used that for a number of years, but I really like the putty the best because you can take it off the wall as well. The Velcro, if you want to move the charts around and reorganize your restaurant, um, it's a pain in the butt. You get sticky stuff left on the wall, then you scrub it, and it's a pain in the butt. Okay, same thing with the double-sided tape. Double-sided tape's worse. Double-sided tape's your last option. Okay. Uh, and then remember in the training program, the goal here is to learn. Okay, and you want every employee to score 100%. Okay, now don't give it to them, make them earn it. But you know what? I find it so funny. Our education system, teachers buzz through this information and then give you homework, and then they quiz you, and then they test you, and very rarely do they really give you the answers. Very rarely do they give you the answers. Why don't they just cover the material, make sure we've read it, okay, and then give us the answers? Because the answers are all the important stuff, right? Occasionally you get those teachers, they try to be tricky, okay, and try to throw in some question about something that really isn't important, doesn't matter in the least bit about the subject as a whole, okay, and they do that so they can catch you. They want to make sure you learn 100% of the information. 100% of the information you didn't need to know. Okay? Guys go to college for 4 years and they use 10% of that knowledge in their new job. It's just ridiculous. Okay? Our education system, I'm not saying it's not important. You've got to have, reading, writing, arithmetic skills in these things. But we learn so much information, we're crammed so much information that just isn't necessary, and it's not necessary to do the job. It's even on the job. I mean, the companies that do have these tests sometimes, it's like they're trying to trick you. Don't try to trick them. Help them. You're a good teacher if when your students going to score 100%. Okay, they score 100% because you made sure they know all the needed information. Stop focusing on all the BS and just get to the heart of the matter and pound that into their heads. And I don't care if you guys sit there and ask ask the trainee the same question 5 times to pound it in their head, and that question comes right off the test. I don't care if you go right down the test and say 1, 2, 3, 4 and answer, ask them in the same order. As long as they know the information, that's the important thing. Learning, learning. Give them that information. Make sure they remember it. Okay, that's the most important thing. Don't try to trick them. You want to help them, not trick them. Okay. Um, Make them pass a written test and a hands-on test. So, it's not just about book learning and memorizing stuff and knowing it mentally. You've got to be able to apply it with your hands too. Okay. And part of it, and when you're going to do the hands-on test, what are we looking for? Number one, we're looking for quality. Okay. Because if the product they make or the work they do isn't quality, then it has to be redone. So that's going to waste their time. It's going to take them twice as long, or it's going to take them or it's going to take someone else to finish what they were supposed to do. So it's either way, it's taking twice as long. So number one, quality. Number two is after they learn how to do it, they knew how to do it right. You got to practice with them and coach them and make them do it fast. Okay, because everything is about speed. If you want to make money, you got to do it fast. Point blank and period. Okay, that's the restaurant business. Small margins, so speed counts. Okay. And then last, I'm just calling it the A to Z and A to B rule. Uh, is and I've discussed this in the past, is if I know the most at my restaurant more than anybody, um, they should learn from me. Okay. I'm A. They're whatever letter. They're the 10th employee, they're J or whatever. Okay. Um, so A to J. That's where he's going to learn the most. If my first assistant manager, he would be B. The best way would be A to J. Second best way would be B to J. Okay. If you have a third manager, then C to J. Okay. It's always best that they learn from one of you guys. And then your next option would be D, which would be a trainer. Okay. Or head cook or head waitress or whatever. Okay. Those are oh, oh, the people you want training. You don't want G training F or L K training L or L training M. Okay, that's bad. They're not going to learn. They can only learn what the other person knows, and they're one of the lowest ranking people there, and they're probably new themselves. So, remember as high as you can. The highest ranking person, try to have them train them. Okay. The trained employee. Be straightforward with them about expectations. Be very honest, very upfront. You don't have to be rough or gruff or overly firm, even, but you do have to be clear that they understand exactly what you're talking about, and be very straightforward about your expectations of them. Okay. Uh, Give them goals to reach their standards. If they're a little bit slow, say, hey, I'm looking for you to do this tonight, tomorrow night, and then the next night a little bit faster, the next night a little bit faster. Okay. Uh, Number three, give them constant feedback, daily and hourly. While you're running your shift as a manager, you're traveling the restaurant. You should be going out talking to customers at the tables. Should be checking on the cashiers, checking on the waitresses, checking on the hostesses, checking on the kitchen. You're roaming, okay? And as you're doing so, give them feedback. Especially during those rush hours. Good job. You need to pick it up a little bit. Or this or that or that. Give them feedback constantly, okay? And again, it doesn't have to be emotional. Uh, It has to be honest. It has to be sincere, but it doesn't have to be emotional. Okay. Uh, Last is hold them accountable, or not second to last is hold them accountable. If they screw up, they've got to know that they screwed up. Okay. And then cross train them on other stations. Make them learn the station to their left, the station to the right. Make them learn the person above them's job. So you're promoting up. So you've got a lot of, if you make every employee learn their own station, then the station to their left, station to their right, and their boss's job, um, you've got a lot of training to do. It's ongoing. It's never ending, pretty much. When you figure four things they've got to learn, four positions they've got to learn, um, before they're the kind of perfect employee or can be a master at their job. Okay, to me that's a master. When you know the job to your left, job to your right, and your job and your boss's job, then you're a master. And you require very little supervision. That's what you're looking for out of every employee, and um, that's just going to be ongoing, never ending. And because there's always going to be someone in a restaurant that has something that they need to learn one of those new stations. So it's going to be ongoing. Okay. Never stop training. Never, never, never stop training. Always train. Always make someone learn something more. Okay. The only exception I would say would be with that would be maybe your one or two busiest shifts each week. Your Friday and Saturday night shifts, for example. Those are your busiest nights. Don't worry so much about training on those nights. Put your aces in your places, rock and roll, kick out the food, give great service, keep everybody positive, smiling, happy, so they do that to their customers. And uh, that'll if you do it on your two busiest shifts each week and you really hit home runs on those, your sales are going to go through the roof because they're going to order on the slow days too. Watch. Okay. This is Paul, the boss man again. I'm wrapping up on our last leadership category as people in training. And like I said in the past, don't forget to visit my website, www.theboss.rocks, helping restaurant owners, managers grow sales, profits professionally and personally. Have a good day. Thank you.